It's Tuesday, July 19th, 2016. I'm Rim.
I'm coughing.
And this is Geek Nights. Tonight, we're talking about Ekans.
We don't need it.
We're talking about Pokemon Go.
Let's do this.
So yeah, we're finally back. You guys know we ran ConnectiCon. We're the heads of the panels department, and that all went fine. And we all got sick. Well, at least me and Scott and Emily got sick. And, you know, some kinds of sicknesses, like when...
I followed all the protocols of not shaking hands.
I fucking didn't touch anyone.
Constant hand washing.
I wash my hands every time I walk past that bathroom by panel ops, and I use the alcohol disinfectant.
I don't use the alcohol disinfectant, but I wash my hands like crazy.
Yep, but it didn't matter. Now, it appears that we actually got different things.
I don't like the way that shit makes your hands feel.
Yep, no, because it's all like gooey and jelly.
Yeah, no, I don't like that shit. And
yeah,
it
but
smells,
at least it
smells bad.
At least it was the real shit. It was alcohol. It wasn't like triclosan, just like nonsense.
It came from Operation Hammond. It's the real shit.
Real guys, germ busters. But I guess Scott got strep throat, and I just got this like ridiculous fucking cold that migrated into my eye at one point.
Oh yeah, I didn't get the eye thing.
Yeah, I called my insurance because they have this like nurse you can call and ask questions, and I was like, so I'm an adult, and I think I just got pink eye from myself. And she was like, do you have a cold? And I'm like, yep. And then she's like, were you coughing violently? And I was like, yep. And she was like, you probably coughed it into your eye. And I was like, that's a thing? And she's like, that is most definitely a thing. So yeah, pink eye is super contagious if you get it like eyeward. Like you get it in your eye from like some kid who didn't wash his hands after he pooped himself.
Poke your eye out, kid.
Yep. But if you have a cold, you can cough so hard that you knock it into the back of your eye, and you'll basically just get pink eye from yourself. So normally, like when I get sick with like a flu or something, like that one ConnectiCon long ago, like we'll power through and like do a show or like do a thing, especially at a convention. But we ended up having illnesses that caused constant coughing. So even if our mind was sound, the body could not do Geek Nights, nor could I even do any Patreon stuff. So we're basically just dead in the water.
Also, I wasn't even here. Because I woke up in Connecticut Monday morning planning to take the train to the city directly to work. But I was sick, so I just stayed in Connecticut.
Yep.
Can't do a podcast from a state away.
I'm at work on Monday, and Scott messages me, and he's like, you motherfucker. I got me sick. And I was like, wasn't me, bro.
It was you.
I got a different sick.
Whatever. We all got sick. Whatever.
So we're finally back. There's going to be a lot of coughing in this episode, probably, and I'm not going to edit that out.
My cough is like 25% of what it was yesterday.
Yeah. No, so Emily saw, because, I thought I was feeling better. Like, I didn't think I was sick anymore on Wednesday. So I'm playing some Overwatch, right? And suddenly, like, the game's getting intense, and I start to say some stuff on the chat, and then I just had this ridiculous coughing fit so bad that one of our friends on the voice chat in the game was like, Rim, you AFK, what's up? Because I just wasn't moving. I was like flailing and coughing.
I'm coughing more now that I'm talking.
Yep. That's how that'll go. You want a cough drop?
No.
Oh, I think we have some. Emily's coughing out there too. Yeah.
Coughing on the dinner.
Well, I don't think I can get what Emily has because I'm pretty sure it's what I had. But at least the party we went to over the weekend was chill times in the summer outside. So I feel pretty good and rejuvenated. And
healing wave.
Unrelatedly, but kind of related because it's kind of funny. I promise we're not talking about American politics or any nonsense, but the bad parties convention's going on right now in America. And something really funny happened. The attendees of the Republican convention, which is like literally the opposite of the nerd convention that we just ran, might have a norovirus outbreak.
Well, they're all old people, so their health is not the greatest.
Now, it's funny because on one hand,
so
nerd conventions...
It's easy for disease to spread.
Yep, but nerd conventions are known for disease spreading because, like...
There's a lot more people there.
And there's the churn. Like, that's why convention center escalators always fail. Because nerds don't just walk into a room, sit there for 4 hours, and then go out drinking in, like, shitty hotel bars. Nerds are going up and down, walking around constantly touching each other.
Well, the political conventions, if you look at them on TV, they don't look like tech conferences where it's like a bunch of chairs and people sitting quietly. It's a bunch of people standing all crammed in next to each other tightly.
Yep.
Right? Pushing and shoving and yelling.
And I realized this.
And coughing on each other.
It's a political convention,
spitting.
Which means it's not just that they're full of flecks of spittle all over their faces. What do politicians do? Kiss babies and shake hands. They're walking around this thing, touching each other's hands.
There's so much handshaking going on there.
There's a rumor that I can't confirm yet that maybe 100% of California's delegation has norovirus. And if you don't know what norovirus is...
there are Republicans in California?
There's at least 2 or 3, I assume. Someone also posted something funny because there was an uproar. Like there was some political nonsense going on. So a whole bunch of delegates walked out of a vote. Like all this like drama happened. And someone pointed out that the tweet from the news that said the Colorado delegation has abandoned the convention was at exactly 4:20 p.m.
Oh.
That is the extent of the politics we'll get tonight. We're back. We're bad. We're doing Geek Nights. Got any news?
I do have a news. The long-awaited video ball
In a grim, dark future when all humanity has been
released
subsumed.
to the world like a week or 2 ago.
Have you played it yet?
I bought it immediately and have not even launched it or installed it because I have not been home and not sick and at a time when I'm going to play some video ball.
Even at a time like this, we've been
Why didn't
talking
you
about
release
this
your game in the winter? Why would you release your game in the warmest, most beautiful time of the year?
I mean, we've been talking about this game for what, almost 3 years? Every PAX, we go up to these guys and we're like, just give me the game. Like, I don't just give me the game. I want the game. And
Also, at a time that just so happens that even though I'm ready to play video ball, everyone that I would play video ball with is
Overwatch.
instead playing Overwatch and Pokemon Go. And even if I played video ball, no one else is video balling.
Now, luckily, it's not a fully transitive situation. You can play Pokemon Go and video ball at the same time. You can play Pokemon Go and Overwatch at the same time. You cannot play Overwatch and video ball at the same time, especially because the competitive season started and let's just say that the level of Overwatch play is rising rapidly. I'm holding on to my 51 rank with grim determination.
Sorry, I'll be started on video ball soonish.
I will install video ball and play it before the end of this week.
I think at the very least, right, even if video ball doesn't take off to be internet competitive, thing, that it will at least become the best, like everyone's in the same room at the party game.
Oh, hell yeah. In fact, Scott, it's kind of good.
It's like, take that,
remember
other than
Rocket League?
it's like we'll have another option besides Bomberman. Well,
'Cause
Bomberman
remember
and video ball.
When Rocket League came out, like half of our friends played it enough to get pretty good, and the other half didn't.
But it sucks to play Rocket League in the same room.
Yep. Well,
And it's also hard, it's hard for people to play.
We did it at the New Year's party, but that's because we had like 7 computers between
It also
all of us.
sucked to have like a split screen time.
I didn't have that. I was playing on my laptop.
It's still, it's not
But-
the best.
But the other problem was, people got good at different rates. And Overwatch, while it's fun to play with friends, competitive kind of split off on its own. But with video ball, if our friends don't play it that much, it means every time we're together, we bust it out. And much like Star Wall, nobody's good enough to where no one wants to play Street Fighter or Soul Calibur with Jess or Scott anymore.
Well, there are also times when, even if everyone plays the game the same amount, some people progress in skill more quickly than others.
Yep.
So, yeah, anyway.
I am excited, though. I mean, I've been waiting for video ball for a long time, and it's going to scratch an itch. I know it's going to scratch an itch.
The other game we've been waiting for, which we talked about last episode, the Valhalla, is out too. We still haven't played that.
Yep.
The cyberpunk bartending simulation.
I installed it on my laptop, and I was gonna play it on the way to the party this weekend. Because I was still a little sick, I just fell asleep instead. And then the Prince of Nothing book came out.
So that's replacing all portable gaming is reading books instead.
Yep.
Oh, by the way, I finished reading the book club book.
I was about to finish reading the book club
Wait
book,
for some meta moment.
and then I read the first 60% of the Prince of Nothing book. I feel like I'm going to finish the Prince of Nothing book, but I'll probably finish Orcs and Craig this weekend. 'Cause I'm going
It
to the
took
beach.
me 5 or 6 hours to read it.
Not bad, not bad.
Total.
My Kindle says there's only 2 hours left in the Prince of Nothing book.
I was surprised at looking at the percentage at the bottom of the Prince of Nothing as I read it. I'm like,
Yep.
really? 30% already? We waited for this?
Yep. Because I hit the whale mothers, and then I looked at the percent, and I was like, whoa, okay. Well, now I know about whale mothers. There's not that much book left.
I think I'm in the whale mother chapter right now.
Yeah, but you don't know what the whale mothers are yet.
I think I got a good idea.
Oh, if men bred themselves the way men breed cattle.
Yes.
It's bad stuff. This book is peak R. Scott Backer.
Yep.
But why did everything we like come out literally like in the span of a few weeks?
Everyone got their shit done in August.
Yeah, no, get your shit
July.
done in February.
That's right.
If we make a convention, which we're talking about, it's going to be like middle of February on the worst
It's
possible
going to be
day.
sometime fucking cold.
Yep. It's going to be cold and miserable. There'll be nothing going on that weekend. Just trust us. So, in my news, Scott might make fun of me a little because my news is yet again Overwatch, but the new patch came out.
Yeah, you'll get over it soon enough.
I'm still not over Weapons Factory, you realize.
I mean, when was
Like,
the-
I'm still not over Tribes.
Shit, well, me,
Like, if
you
Tribes
know.
were easy to play, like this game is, I just play Tribes every day. Like I'd maybe even quit GeekNights. I'd wander the world.
Does this game have jetpacks?
There's a character, Farah, who's
but not everyone.
Not everyone.
And does it have spin fusors?
Does
it have all that crazy shit you can set up in your base?
Symmetra, kinda. Not quite to that extent, but Symmetra can make teleporters.
You can equip yourself every time you spawn with all
no,
the wacky
you can't
shit,
do that.
And all the vehicles, and everyone gets in the vehicle.
Can't do any of that.
Right, the map is ginormous.
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't fully scratch the Tribes
Skiing.
itch, but holy hell, does it scratch the Weapons Factory, Old Team Fortress, Mega TF itch. I play this game every goddamn day. But a new patch just hit, and the internet was going crazy about it, and you might have seen me arguing with a lot of different people about the patch. But the patch is interesting for a number of reasons. So I'm going to read the patch notes, because one thing you should know, Scott and I were talking about before the show, one thing Blizzard's real good about is there's like this twofold balance. On the one hand, they don't listen to you when you complain to them at all.
They do, actually, a little bit.
Well,
the Hearthstone people seem to be listening.
They listen
somewhat.
They listen in the sense of they see people who are mad and they look at the game and say, "Oh, there's a problem there. Let's fix it." But they don't listen to you when you're like, "You should add another kind of card called this and let us make mods of the game."
No, and they're definitely not letting. They never let anyone mod anything. Blizzard is the most anti-mod, right? They go after anyone who sets up their own server. They like bring the lawyers on.
And I'm telling you, I used to be super pro mod. The only reason I am not anymore is because of Tribes 2. But the other thing is that Blizzard, when they do make changes,
I'm pro mod in terms of the kind of mod where it's like, we made this brand new game using your engine, right?
Yeah.
Without having to buy your stupid engine, like Counter-Strike. But I'm not pro mod like, we made a different Counter-Strike, it's zombie Counter-Strike, and now half the people are playing zombie Counter-Strike instead of regular Counter-Strike.
The worst thing about your example is that zombie Counter-Strike was almost fun. Like, it was probably the best of those. Did you ever play World of Warcraft Counter-Strike?
I'm also pro mod in terms of like, hey, let me make a custom map for this game, like FY Ice World.
Yep. Or Civ 5, like, let's just make the entire Prince of Nothing world into a scenario.
That was my idea.
It was. We I should just
as long as you admit that it was my idea.
I should just post that chat. Was it your idea, or did I incept it into you? What came before?
I came before.
Well, actually, we have a chat log. We can go see exactly what came before.
Yeah, me.
But, so the one thing, I'm going to read some of these change notes because Blizzard goes into a lot of detail. If a match goes into overtime for more than 20 seconds, the overtime fuse will now burn down much more quickly. So if a match doesn't end definitively at the end of its time, it goes into overtime. The way overtime basically works is there'll be like an objective of some kind. So, like, one example is there's a payload that is to get to a destination by a time. If the time runs out and the payload is not yet at the destination,
then the people pushing the payload lose.
Yep, but the payload is still moving because the attackers are still on it, then overtime starts, and as long as they stay on the payload, the overtime goes on forever. But the moment they're off the payload, there's this kind of overtime fuse that just goes, Boo!
So it basically so it's 20 seconds, right? So it basically allows you, if like...
Well, no, it's 20 seconds from the point you are not advancing it any further.
Right, but I'm saying it's basically allows for the buzzer beater situation. We're like, we almost made it. We don't want to just get cut off like, you're 1 second away.
Theoretically, you could spend the whole match at the beginning of the thing, like you're like way away from the objective, hit overtime, and if you just never get knocked off of that thing, you'll eventually take it over the finish line and win. It works great. But what they're doing is, if the overtime goes on for more than 20 seconds total, the fuse that determines whether or not it can keep going will start burning down faster and faster and faster to force a conclusion, which is good because I saw some players, and I did this a few times, who had strategies that involved getting into overtime and delaying the game for a very long time. Like 6 Mays can't lose. Competitive play. Oh, and also in overtime, respawn times are increased.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So think about this. That means in overtime, if
you
you kill someone,
you're going to win.
Like, that's a big deal. Killing someone matters a lot. Surviving matters a lot.
Sure, that's good.
The change that everyone's bitching about is, and I was bitching too, and I'm very conflicted and ambivalent on the change. In competitive play, matches, you can only have one of each hero per team. So that would be like if in Weapons Factory, you could only have on your team one sniper, one engineer, one arsonist, one whatever, healer, nurse. Nurse was the class. And on one hand, I don't like that because I do enjoy the strategies people came up with, like in certain maps, just have 2 sentry turrets, fucking go nuts. But on the other hand, I can see that if you allow heroes to be doubled up, because every hero has like a crazy Dune style power, then if you make one hero a little bit too strong in a certain situation, you could theoretically have a degenerate strategy in certain maps of, yeah, just fucking send 6 Winstons in and nothing beats that but 6 Mays.
I mean, limiting options is usually good, right? It's like,
Well, it's good for balance.
if you think of like the set of players you have on the set of classes you choose on an FPS team as like the cards in a collectible card game.
Yep.
It's like you can't just let someone make a deck of like 8 lightning bolts and then turn it into a deck of 8, restore health or whatever, right? When they need health. It's like it's bullshit, right? It's like, yeah, choose one of everything, at any given time. I'm surprised they didn't actually take it further and do the thing the MOBAs do, where you deny.
See,
and then
I would hate
draft,
that.
And it's like if someone, when you pick something, you're that for the whole game, and only one person. And as soon as one team picks a class, the other team can't pick it anymore.
See, no, they appear to have been floating some of those ideas, but honestly, that would ruin the game.
I think it works in MOBAs because they have so many classes that if someone like takes one support, there's always another support you can get. It's not like they can ever ban you from getting any healers whatsoever unless you really mess it up. But I don't think Overwatch, while it has a lot, it doesn't have enough yet.
Also, Overwatch is more like make your team of 6 with your strategy for those 6 people, irrespective of the other side. It's more like hockey and less like a MOBA in that regard. Like, this is my team, that's your team.
There's no like counter picking, like, they picked that person, so we need to pick this person to beat them.
You can't see who they pick until you see them in game.
Well, they could let you see, right? If
they can let you see.
They could, if they built the MOBA like character selection system, they would let
but
you
I'm
see.
saying right now you can't.
Right.
But what it means is, to use the hockey analogy, because you can change characters during the match, like when you die,
that's
you
another
can
thing
switch.
MOBAs you can't do.
That is great because that is like a hockey line change.
Yeah.
And it works really well. So I'm really ambivalent on the change. I suspect in the end, now they gave some additional notes as to why they made the change, and the change
It also
seems
just makes
to,
the game more interesting.
Yeah. Here's the pros and cons. The pros of the change seem to be, one, it's easier to balance heroes. Like, they can try crazy stuff with a hero, and they can test it much more easily for balance.
Right. If there's some ridiculously powerful hero that's like OP, each team will have one.
At most.
And that's it.
And
right?
you can balance around that.
And you won't have these boring games where it's like, we made a hero OP, both teams are 6 of the same hero all the time. Oops. You just save yourself from that.
Yep. But the main complaints seem to be that competitive players are whiny little babies who are complaining that it was really hard to counter certain strategies on certain maps. They didn't appear to be completely degenerate. It's just babies got to get good.
Well, also, it's hard to counter certain strategies in certain maps, but now those other people can't use those strategies because they also have to have 6 unique heroes.
Yep.
And they can't come at you with 6 of the same guy. You don't need 6 of the other guy to stop them. They only have, it's like, come on.
But like there were some maps where, and here's my counterpoint on the other side. When this wasn't a thing, especially in casual play, you'd see these amazing spectator moments where the crazy bullshit goes down. Like a team's losing, and suddenly they just kind of get desperate, and 6 Winstons just burst onto the scene and go crazy, go literally apeshit, and it was real fun. It's like when the crazy crap, like the onside kick nonsense happens.
Yeah,
in
that's
sports.
why this rule is only in competitive mode. Hearthstone did the same thing. Hearthstone, they have competitive mode, which is like standard mode, and they also have wild mode, which is like play all the crazy cards. Woo!
Now, I suspect. Now, again, I do not know the math. I don't have any of the stats that Blizzard has. I suspect they could have gotten away with doing, actually, the thing that Weapons Factory did back in the day, because Weapons Factory is the most recent game that's like this game. Mm-hmm. And what they did is all the people who ran servers sort of converged upon certain classes were limited to a limited number, and others weren't.
Yeah, another way of doing this that's just too complicated for real-time switching is just use a points-based system. Like, each class is worth X points, and your team can only have X points on the field at a time. But it's like, imagine respawning and being like, I have to choose a class. There's only 20 points available. I want a class that costs 22. Can someone else die and respawn to something that costs 2 less so I can switch to the... it's like that. It's like, fuck that nonsense, right?
Yep.
But that's a good system. Other than that obvious problem, if you were like planning at the start of the game, like building a miniature, then it would be fine.
Yep. But I remember in Weapons Factory, I don't remember the full details. It's just been so long. But like Gunner was like Bastion is in Overwatch, and most servers said only 2 gunners, only 2 engineers, because like 6 turrets in a room in a 10v10 was just unbeatable. So they do that sort of thing. I hope in the long run, that's what ends up happening. I'd like to see a little bit of hero stacking because it really adds to the strategic depth of the game.
I think that all they really need to do to solve that is to just do, like I said, with the MOBAs, right? If you want it, for example,
I do not want to see a lot of heroes in this game. Like I don't want to. I want
There's going to be a lot of heroes.
I don't think there'll be hundreds because they're going real.
I don't know if there'll be hundreds, but for example, like you want more engineers, right? Because you want more than 1 turret, right? So they'll just.
Well, they already have 2 kinds of turrets.
I'm just saying they'll make yet another class that has some kind of engineer, that's different than the other ones, but still, right? And that's how you would get to stacking, right?
I just don't think they'll add too many heroes over time, partly because the game
in all the games they've had so far, they've kept adding heroes.
True, but this is a very different kind of game because of the player skill input, and unlike those MOBAs even, the Pareto frontier in this game is fucking tight.
I mean, sure, but I'm saying expect new heroes. They're
coming.
Yeah,
but the rate of hero adding
expect multiple heroes per year.
Well, I don't know. I don't think it'll be multiple per year.
It'll be multiple per year. I guarantee
maybe
it.
At most 2 a year.
No, it's gonna be way more. It's gonna be at least 5.
I don't know. We'll see.
That's how they do.
In the very least, they'll never charge you for heroes. But if they do it a lot of heroes,
they're charging $50 for the game, so they better fucking not charge you for heroes.
The problem will be if they add too many heroes, the game will turn into a MOBA where that knowledge matrix starts to matter a lot. And also it means that teams' tactical composition changes are so much more subtle and less obvious to spectators that the game will basically turn into a MOBA and I'd quit playing it.
That's how they do.
Yeah, and if that happens, I'll quit, but doesn't appear to be happening now. The characters are all ultra ridic and super skill-based. And there's a whole bunch of other changes, but...
I mean, it'll be slower than adding heroes to their actual MOBA because it takes a lot more work to make one for an FPS. You got to make all these weapons and models and animations and stuff that, they're bigger and they're fancier.
Yep.
Right?
I think they're going to add more modes and more maps first.
They're definitely going to do that for sure.
Because also I noticed something. The character they added...
Unlike the MOBAs that all have like one map, right?
Yep. Well, actually, I'll get into that later because we got other stuff to talk about and this will be a real long news if I talk about everything else that's going on here. But the most important change... I play D.Va a lot. Like, I'm real good with D.Va. And I stopped playing D.Va because it felt kind of overpowered to me and I wanted to get better at other classes. They just made D.Va way more powerful because everyone else thought that character was underpowered. So I'm already like real fucking dangerous with that character. And now they just made her like twice as powerful. I'm real curious what's going to happen if I start using her again. So anyway, things of the day. Got a thing of the day?
Yeah, some dude got some Legos, and he made, with those Legos, a gentleman's club.
Bricks, 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 all shapes and sizes.
And while, a gentleman's club is in itself rather distasteful, this is funny.
It looks a lot like Show Palace.
Yeah.
Like specifically Show Palace.
It's quite lowbrow, but it has all these Lego jokes.
But I'm quite lowbrow.
It's well constructed, so...
So, multiple people sent this to me. This is called Hyperreality. Presents a provocative and kaleidoscopic new vision of the future where physical and virtual realities emerge in a city saturated in media. This is basically... Now, I couldn't find it because I forgot what it was called. I couldn't remember who showed it to me. So eventually, I just typed into Google and I was like, dystopian augmented reality. And this was literally the first thing that came up. But it is a video that's like a first-person view of a human being living in a pretty likely future of what augmented reality is actually going to be like in the real world.
But, I mean, we've seen stuff like this a million times before. What's different about this one?
Like what? Name one.
Well, there's like the Deno Coil anime.
Deno Coil is a lot different from this. Yes, Scott, it is superficially, here's a future where augmented reality exists.
Blade Runner, every single cyberpunk thing ever.
So Blade Runner doesn't say any of the things really that this says.
Right.
Blade Runner also wasn't really focused on AR at all. Blade Runner dealt with... Yeah. All right, Scott. There are works of media that superficially cover the same broad spectrum of ideas.
Is it just someone walking around and there's like ads in their face all the time?
That is one tiny aspect of this. Also, what is very different about this is that it is very well constructed and has a deep variety of very specific and subtle details that really drive home the terrifying reality of this sort of future. The moral is always block ads.
Yeah.
Always block ads in every aspect of your life. Block ads. 100 years, blockads.com.
You haven't played gods.
In the meta moment, the book club book is Oryx and Crake by Margaret Atwood.
I read the whole thing. It took me like 5-6 hours tops.
I'm going to finish the Prince of Nothing book, and then this weekend I'll probably read Oryx and Crake. So
I already picked like the next 2 book club books, and apparently Oryx and Crake has like 2 sequels, and those are not the next book club picks, even though apparently you're supposed to read them.
Yep. And
I didn't even realize that was a trilogy until
many of our friends, when they find out that we're reading this book for the book club, are like, oh, you got to read the other 2.
I'm like, other 2, what?
Yeah.
Even though I finished it at that point, I was like, oh, okay. That you just turned the ending from a non-cliffhanger into a cliffhanger by telling me that there was more.
See, remember, the only reason I read all 14 of those Wheel of Time books plus New Spring was that I knew that series was already done. There'd never be any more, and the original author was dead. I basically don't start things that I don't trust that I do not trust to end reliably.
You're reading Prince of Nothing, though.
Based on how those books are going, he knows how it's going to end, and he's likely to survive to finish them, and there aren't that many more. There's going to be way less of those.
News tomorrow.
If R. Scott Bakker dies before the book after the one I'm reading right now comes out, I'm going to be distraught. Let us put it that way. But I think the danger of that is much lower than with, say, the awful Game of Thrones books that I really have zero interest in reading.
Yeah, no, fuck those.
Yep. In other news, now that ConnectiCon is done, all that content that's been kind of on hold for a long time is coming back full force. Scott's going to make a bunch of videos. I'm going to make a bunch of videos. Got a ton of things for the Patreon. I got a bunch of panels from other conventions I got to upload to YouTube. GeekNights Presents Utena 15 is like 90% done. All this shit, a creative explosion is going to come out dependent only upon how nice it is outside.
Mm-hmm.
And also, we are going to be officially appearing live at PAX West. Not PAX Prime, but PAX West 2016.
Calling it Prime, and I'm living in Capstone and getting help from Physical Plant.
Physical Plant, and I'm using my Phoenix browser.
Yeah. I'm going to play some tennis on my Nintendo Revolution.
But we are performing Saturday, September 3rd at 5 p.m. in the Chicken Theater. The Grind. We're doing an hour-long lecture on the very concept of grinding in games at its core.
Mm-hmm.
It's been, we do a lot of panels and a lot of lectures at cons, but I do want to say this because this one's going to be more like panels we did many years ago in that we're excited, like really excited about it. As soon as Scott had the idea, because Scott was like, what about grinding? And I was like, oh, and then we both had already like 4 hours worth of shit to talk about.
So if anyone out there, I want you to help us do some research. I want you to find us the earliest examples of grinding in gaming that you can find.
Oh, in gaming. I was about to say being a peasant.
Right, but I mean, like, I found like there's some old ass RPGs, obviously, but like, is there anything older than the oldest RPGs where you have to level up and shit?
Yeah, there's no grinding in Kriegspiels.
I mean, like, grinding is old. Final Fantasy 1 was not the first.
Now,
right?
you might be saying, but Rim and Scott, what do you mean by grinding? Because there's some wonderful threads in our
think you
forum.
can get an idea of what grinding means, right?
Yeah.
You can figure it out.
But there are a lot, like, grinding serves purposes in games. This is not going to be a lecture of, here's all the reasons why grinding is bad and why we
grinding
don't like Final
sucks.
Fantasy.
The end. Let's go home.
Yeah. No, grinding serves its purpose. Grinding's a good thing in some games. There's different kinds of grind. I'm feeling it. This is going to be more like that Dude Bro, like those old lectures we used to do, because I don't know, that clock's ringing. I feel good about this one. Because I've noticed the lectures that we really, really like, we basically do like twice at conventions. And the second time we do it, that video is what we put on YouTube, and it's just perfect. And we never run it anywhere again because the perfect version's on YouTube. But then we got lazy for a while because we've been busy. So we'll take like one panel and run it at like 8 conventions. I feel like this one might be a one and done on YouTube. See, I'm Babe Ruth in it. I'm just pointing. I think this one's going to be good.
Whatever.
Also, PAX is 4 days, 6 if you go to Dev. I'm going to be there for all 6 days, and it's going to be amazing. I don't think we have any conventions after that until MagFest.
Good.
Which we'll be performing at. And yeah. So speaking of, those kinds of lectures, there was a panel we did at a PAX a long goddamn time ago. This was like PAX Prime 2010, or it might have been like East 2011.
Right, but
I
the
don't
thing we
remember.
said at this panel was we've been saying much longer, well before we did that panel.
Yep, but they culminated in this panel. We called the panel Egregiously Unrealized Potential, and we were like, why doesn't someone remake TIE Fighter? Like, we just, all these things, like, why doesn't someone do this? Why doesn't someone do that? And we talked about, like, why the remake of Bionic Commando from the NES was way better than the game that it was made to promote and all that nonsense. But then, at the very end, our last slide was just Pokemon MMO. Let's fucking do it. It'll end the world. It'll be the most important thing ever. Like, it'll change everything.
And we were right.
Yeah.
We're also right when I said that Pokemon Go is just going to be Ingress with the Pokemon skin on it.
So I listened to, because we talked about Ingress on Geeknights when it came out, and we played it a
Ingress
bit.
a whole bunch, which is why I feel no need to play Pokemon Go.
Yeah, but we played Ingress a lot because it was the first one that
played
wasn't...
it a moderate amount.
We played it a bunch for a short span of time to be able to understand it because it was the first modern AR game.
No, the first modern AR game was that thing that EA did in 2001.
That was... I would argue... No,
I texted you and called you on the phone.
I know what you're talking about. I think that's a different class of AR game.
I'm just saying that's even more AR than...
Yeah, but that's why I said modern AR.
Also, Pokemon Go... Only a little bit of AR going on. It's mostly just a game that has your GPS input.
That's the very definition of AR.
That it has a GPS.
It's overlaid on the real world in your real life. There's physical things in the world.
Your reality isn't altered by
All right, Scott,
when you're playing Pokemon Go.
AR game like version 1 would have been when people told a story about a place in a novel and that exists in the real world. And you go to that place in the real world and you think about the things the novel said about that place. Version 2 would have been like geocaching. But Pokemon...
Whatever.
But anyway, when we talked about Ingress, we both said multiple times that this is the model. This is the blueprint for a real AR game down the road. Like, this is clearly...
This is just a candy box,
This is Google through Niantic experimenting with this concept. It's like the beta test that they're going to use this data to make a real game later. And then, a while ago, years ago, was it years ago? It was a while ago.
At least a year ago.
But remember when one day, Pokemon just appeared in Google Maps for a day, and then they disappeared? Like, just, there were Pokemon in places around the world, and you could...
Nintendo and Google have been pretty tight with Pokemon and stuff for quite a while. They have been friendly to each other.
When that happened, that one day, I was like, there's a Pidgeotto just on Google Maps, and I clicked on it, and now I have a Pidgeotto. And then, like, we talked about it. But one thing that I said in that Geek Nights was, it's interesting because that means that Google and Nintendo talked to each other and made that happen, like Roger Rabbit style, including characters from multiple properties. Which meant Google and Pokemon were talking, or Google and Nintendo were talking, and we basically predicted that this was going to happen.
You mean Alphabet?
Yeah. Physical plant. And sure enough, we were right. 100%. It happened. And here it is.
Yeah. We talked about it when it was announced, and now it's here, except the wristband thing isn't here yet.
Yep.
And it's exactly what we said it would be.
Yep. And it's interesting because it changes.
And all those people who were like, oh man, they kept saying stuff it wasn't going to be, and I told them they were wrong and they didn't believe me. They're like, oh yeah, there's going to be like battling. I'm like, no, there isn't. And we were right, there isn't.
Well, there sort of is, but not regular
Not
Pokemon.
really. Not the way that they were thinking.
Now, it's interesting because Nintendo, they've said features will come, and they have said specifically trading and all those other things are going to come.
And the people are also like, oh yeah, you'll be able to get Pokemon and bring them into your Game Boy game. And I'm like, nope, that's never going to happen.
I think some of those things might happen down the road, but not all of them. Here's my prediction. I think Pokemon Go is going to be kept like studiously separate from the real Pokemon games for the foreseeable future, in the sense that none of the companies involved will ever let Pokemon Go cannibalize even one sale of a regular Pokemon game. And that is not on the table.
All they want to do is use Pokemon Go to boost the sales of regular Pokemon and vice versa.
Which I think they're going to very well.
Yeah.
I also think when the inevitable happens and Nintendo is no longer a hardware company...
maybe not.
Like, well, very likely someday that'll happen. But
When there's no hardware anymore.
Or Nintendo, the other option is Nintendo might go the Oculus road and start making increasingly specialized hardware. But like Wii U, not the greatest thing in the world.
No.
Like, there's a reason we don't
I just
want
to play Mario Maker. I don't want to play anything else.
Yep. And remember, the big game I wanted to play on it was actually Splatoon. No, Overwatch. Like, Splatoon's dead.
Yeah, I never needed to play Splatoon.
Look, it's a real good game. It's just
I'm sure, but
Overwatch is better.
I don't need that in my life. I'm good.
Yeah, I did need it in my life, but it wasn't worth owning a Wii U to have. And the fact that it's basically dead now in light of Overwatch means I was correct. But Pokemon Go, if Nintendo stops being a hardware company and goes the way of Sega and starts selling like regular Pokemon games, like on Steam or on other consoles or just on phones, then the great singularity will happen with Pokemon Go. But only then. It's unlikely they'll merge
don't hold
them.
your breath for that one.
Yeah, exactly. That is a distant future that requires a lot of different dominoes to fall over.
So, since I knew exactly what it was going to be and it turned out to be right, I never even bothered to play Pokemon Go. Have you played Pokemon Go?
I played it, but I did play Ingress all the way up to level 8 to really, like, see.
I played it to I don't even know what level. I'd have to log in and find out.
But I got to level 8 just because that was the highest level in the game when it came out. And then they added 8 more levels. And there's and what I noticed, this is probably the most interesting thing about Pokemon Go that's happening right now. Social media, people who are playing the game, noticed how much experience you need to get past some level in the future. Like if you play it and you get to like level 14 or whatever, like to get to the next level, you need a lot of experience. They realize that it's basically an exponential curve of the amount of experience you need to continue advancing.
That's how
Ingress
they do.
was the same way. It was like, to get to level 2, you need like 1 experience. Fucking just it happened. You're already level 2. Yeah. To get to like level 4, it's like, all right, you need like 100. To get to level 8, it's like you need 1,000. To get to level 9, it's like you need 1 billion. All candy box games must have exponential progression or they will fail.
If you have linear progression, people just keep progressing like whoop, 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 whoop.
Yep. And they don't feel any
And then
reward.
you can't really get away from anyone, so it doesn't really feel good to be high level because everyone's high level.
Yep. Because remember, there is no cost to you to level up in Pokemon Go except to keep clicking. If you just keep poking at the game, you'll just keep leveling up. So the only way to make that monetizable and to make sure that levels matter in some way is to make that leveling curve be to the point that even crazy Joey Jojo Shabadoo, who plays this game 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, eventually peters out and hits a vertical line.
Yeah, you need to separate Joey Jojo from the non-Shabadoo version, right? At least by 1 level. So you need to have that gap there.
But also, the game is competitive, but it's competitive in the same way that Ingress is. In fact, it's even...
I've spent more time on the game than you, and there's more people who on my team color living in this area than you.
I mean, basically, the way it works is they added a few things that make it objectively way better than Ingress, but they took some Ingress concepts and super fucking dumbed them down. So Ingress has the portals, and you like have to team up with people and like collaborate to connect them together. All that teamwork is gone. Like, teamwork doesn't mean anything in this game, really. Like, the team you're on, fuck it doesn't matter. Like, who cares? Also, everyone's smart.
There's also no green team.
Everyone's smart's on the blue team. Because the blue team is like, we're going to learn about stuff. And the red team is like, we're going to be strong. And the yellow team is, don't trust science, go with your gut.
Fuck you, yellow team.
Yep, the yellow team is Hufflepuff.
Fuck you, yellow team, so much.
I mean, I really wanted to be Team Rocket. I feel like I could still be Team Rocket. All I have to do...
Green team or Team Rocket should be the teams, but they're not
All
there.
you have to do to be Team Rocket is place a Pokemon lure at night and then hide in that place. And when kids show up playing Pokemon, literally run over, punch them out, steal their phones, steal their Pokemon.
Steal their Pokemon.
Think about it. Team Rocket could be real. You can literally mug a kid and steal his real
Get
Pokemon.
a Team Rocket
now.
cosplay, come out, do the thing. The kids will be like, yay, and then steal their Pokemon.
Yeah, then you're like, no, really, kid, give me your fucking Pokemon. I'm taking that Pikachu. No, give me the phone. I'm gonna break your phone and kill your Pikachu. I feel like this has got to happen. But anyway, so instead of all that portal stuff with the connecting together and the shields and the stuff, Pokestops, you basically just go up to them and you have to literally like click on the screen.
Yeah, what's the difference between a Pokestop and a gym?
So a Pokestop is an ingress portal. You walk up to it and you got to go into the screen and you see the circle that shows like what the thing is that you don't care about. And then you've got to spin it. You put your thumb on it and you spin it.
Whoa.
And you know what? You know how fucking non-intuitive this is? I didn't know how to interact with them until I looked it up. At no point did I think I should spin that thing.
So you go to the Pokestop and you spin it a bunch.
And then a bunch of bubbles appear, like 4 or 5 bubbles with like individual Pokeballs in them. And you click on them all to get them.
Okay.
Which is just real like
So you
mobile game
you basically
bullshit.
sit there tapping to collect Pokeballs.
Yeah, but you gotta physically walk to the thing and tap it.
Okay.
And then you can go to a gym, and if you have a really high level Pokemon, you can attack the gym. And then you play this really bullshitty game where you jump your Pokemon left and right and like real time battle the guy, but level's the only thing that actually matters. And level is the CP value. And CP value basically just means you spent the most time playing the game. You level up, like you want to level up your Weedle, you got to catch like 1 million Weedles, grind them all into Weedle candy, feed Weedle candy to your Weedle to level him up. So there's basically no way to level up your starter because you can't find Bulbasaurs out there to get Bulbasaur candy. So your starter's just completely useless bullshit.
You can't feed it Weedle candy?
Nope, you got to feed him Bulbasaur candy. Because I know you all caught a Bulbasaur in your bathroom. No one
So
got
basically,
anything else.
really, you only have one of each Pokemon, but their level is equal to pretty much the number of that Pokemon that you've caught.
Yep, so you catch like 1 million Weedles, then when you're bored one
What
day,
about
you sit there-
evolution, right? So if I catch a Weedle and it becomes Beedrill eventually, right? Then I catch Weedles and I can't find any Beedrills in the wild.
Oh, but every...
Can I feed the Weedle candy to the Beedrill?
Yes.
All right, that's fine.
Yep, that's fine. You can also catch evolved Pokemon, all the original 150 or whatever in the game right now. All the
Even
evolutions.
Mew and Mewtwo and Dragonite and
Supposedly you can't get like Mew and
Zapdos?
Mewtwo yet.
Zapdos.
I think you get Zapdos already.
Yeah, legendary stuff. Okay.
I think you can. I'm not sure. Like I said, I haven't really played that much. I got
Dugong.
40 Pokemon, but I got Omanite.
Omanite.
I just caught the Omanite like at ConnectiCon, just like at City's team. So
Praise
whatevs.
Helix.
But some Pokemon are region exclusive. I think Tara or whatever, like one of those Pokemon is like Australia only, or Genghis-Khan. Genghis-Khan is Australia only.
The kangaroo.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Mr. Mime is the Europe exclusive.
The mime.
Yeah.
France only.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
The best tweet I saw was like, Europe, we're so sorry.
I'm not sorry. Fuck you.
And already all our friends were like, Rim, you've got to fucking get us Pokemon. Because I'll be in Australia soon, so.
You can get Pokemon for people. I thought there's no trading.
There will be trading. They've officially said trading will come.
Whatever.
But yeah, the gym is basically just be ridiculous high level because you wasted your life, and then you can play this bullshitty game that really only level matters to take control of the gym, and then your Pokemon stays in the gym fighting off other people until someone else beats it.
So when your Pokemon's in the gym, can you use it, say, at another gym?
Nope.
Or it's just stuck there?
It's just stuck there.
What happens if it gets beat?
It comes back to you, I guess, dead, and then you gotta like revive it, and then you can use it again.
Is it at the level it was, or does it lose all its levels?
I think it stays at the level it was at.
All right.
But the gyms suck. Like I decided, like this game, I will play it because it is actually really fun. The third piece of the game is the AR part where you're walking down the street and it buzzes. You're like, oh shit, there's a Pokemon. And you pull your phone out and you look at your camera and then you find it and it's in a physical place, like a specific physical place. And you see it on your screen overlaid over the real world. And it like pegs
Then you
itself.
take a funny screenshot and tweet it.
Yep, because do you know how many Pokemon I have on people's dicks?
I'm enjoying the tweets without having to play the game.
I'm
and
making
getting
the
the
tweets.
full benefit without having to waste my life.
That part of the game is super fun. Because like I was walking down the street the other day and my phone buzzes and I look and I see a Pidgeotto and I'm like, ooh. And I tried to catch it, but it kept flying away from me. So I like fucking come back here and I'm like chasing this Pidgeotto. I threw like 20 Pokeballs at it before I got it. But that's the only part of the game that's fun. So I am literally not going to try to level up. Never going to interact with the gyms because they're stupid. And also the gym near my
Just
office.
going to try to get funny screenshots.
If you live somewhere like Hicksville, like the local gym has like a CP 30, like you can just go put your Magikarp in there and you're good to go. But in Manhattan, the gym next to me changes hands like 100 times a day. And the people who are attacking it are so high level that I don't even know how that happened.
They're not doing anything else with their lives. They're not podcasting. They're
Yeah.
probably just play Pokemon Go. Play it while at work, play it on the subway, play it on the way home, play.
So I guess don't get me wrong, the game is fun, but it is like the minimum effort.
It is the mindless candy box we thought it would be.
Yep, and the AR part is fun. None of the other parts of it are fun. if you think you're going to play it at all, it's probably worth it to play it now and put in the minimum effort, because this kind of game, the other thing that's likely to happen
Strike while the iron's hot.
When they add more stuff to make the game better, you don't want to decide to start the game then, because then you're that dude who's playing World of Warcraft, doing the beginning like terrible content, while everyone else is playing the new awesome thing that came out.
You're that dude who tries to start playing Netrunner and everyone else already has all these cards. Or playing, Magic the Gathering and everyone else already has all these cards.
So, and also, usually these kinds of games, there'll be ways to level up now to power level that will probably disappear in the future.
You show up at the Warhammer meetup and you got your brand new little tiny piece of Space Marine, but everyone else already
has... And a man with a beard longer than you are tall.
Everyone else already has a giant painted army and you got your little squad.
But the AR part is super fun, so I do recommend it to play that part, because the thing I'm seeing that's amazing is like, so when we came home from ConnectiCon, which was like right after the game went live, I got to the subway station in Long Island City pretty late at night, like 11 o'clock, and I come out of the subway station, Queens Plaza, like way over in the middle of nowhere, and I'm walking back through that park. There's a little park under the subway tracks that's empty. Like, hobos live there, and like there's never anyone there at night. It was crowded. There were like 40 people milling around, and every one of them had Pokemon out.
There are a lot of people playing this game. There's no question. I see this game being played on the street pretty much everywhere.
Yep, like there's a giant crowd of people. The funniest thing in the world, there's a big crowd of people in City Hall Park, and every day they're there, like huge amounts of people. They're all playing the game. There's this one dude, and he's there like multiple times a week when I'm out at lunch, and he's basically trying to be an evangelist for Ingress to the Pokemon kids. It's like, oh, kid, I see you're playing Pokemon. You want to play the real game that Pokemon's based on? And the kids are like, dude, no, that game sucks. But
why doesn't he just start playing Pokemon?
Because he's real mad. All the Ingress people seem real mad that everyone's playing Pokemon because...
Why did they just shut Ingress down? What's the point?
Because the people who play it are obsessed with it.
There's not that many people playing it.
There's a decent number of people playing it still.
Are they making any money on it? It costs money to run. Just shut it down.
Remember, Pokemon also has microtransactions. It's monetized
What can you buy?
You can buy in-game money that can be used to buy like Pokeballs and upgrades and shit.
So basically spend money and you don't have to spin the hoop?
Yep.
So basically, instead of spinning the hoop at the Pokestop, you can just pay money and get Pokeballs.
So all the people who said when Nintendo finally does mobile, they'll do mobile right and mobile different. No, they're doing mobile the same. It's same mobile, just with a Pokemon skin.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the thing that's interesting there with the Ingress stuff is that Ingress existed. It was the beta test for Pokemon. Pokemon comes out, and now you have something that's never happened before. There's 2 augmented reality games, which are overlays on the real world, right? They use the same data, so every Pokestop is an Ingress portal.
Okay.
Meaning the 2 games clash with each other in the real world. It'd be like if you made an MMO and then someone else made a different MMO, but somehow like characters from the 2 MMOs could see each other because they're set in the same world of like Erwa or whatever. Like that's the kind of thing that no one who designed video games ever had to worry about before. But because the substrate for AR games is reality, if you decide to put a thing in your AR game in the real world, it effectively conflicts with any other AR game that has a thing in that same place.
Also conflicts with real life?
Yes. And no one's answered all those questions yet. So just like when MOBAs started appearing or MMOs started appearing or video games started appearing, there's a whole bunch of new questions no one's ever had to ask before, and suddenly a whole bunch of people on Twitter are giving really bad answers to those questions. This has been Geek Nights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for the opening music, Kat Lee for web design, and Brando K for the logos.
Be sure to visit our website at frontrowcrew.com for show notes, discussion, news, and more.
Remember, Geek Nights is not 1, but 4 different shows. Sci-Tech Mondays, Gaming Tuesdays, Anime Comic Wednesdays, and Indiscriminate Thursdays.
Geek Nights is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license. Geek Nights is recorded live with no studio and no audience. But unlike those other late shows, it's actually recorded at night.
the patrons for this episode of Geek Nights, now that we're finally back and mostly unsick, in order of the amount of money they give us on a continuing basis are Alan Joyce, Rebecca Dunn, Nicholas Brandow, Heidi McNichol, Amanda Duchette, James David White, Christian Kuntz, Construction Noises, MyStady.com, Sean Hayworth, William Eisenrose, Jeremy Meyer, Chris Reimer, and Thomas Hahn. Brian Fisher, Sailor Vista, Devin Goodman couldn't think of a funny name, Iggy Kidd, Matthew Smith, Char Tavishan, Joe Shiro, Joe Star, Tyler Eller, Don Schleich, Sean Yeager, Clinton Walton, Ren from New Zealand, Ryan Perrin, Drew Openlander, Rare Lavelle, Brian Cedroni, Rochelle Montanota, Finn Eric Silverrod, Chris Reimer, and Thomas Hahn. Aaron Cerise, Chris Midkiff, Chris Knox. You thought this was going to be Thomas Hahn, but it was me, Dio. Sam Cordery, Daniel Redmond, Sean Klein, Chris Reimer, and Thomas Hahn. We're finally unsick. We were going to record a Q&A and catch up on those today, but Scott was still coughing too much, so we just ended the show when we ended it. But I think he'll be not coughing by next week. We're going to probably do the Q&A from the politics one on Thursday, and all that content we've backed up is going to start flooding out into your faces over the next few weeks. And now I leave you with something strange.
Oh look, there's Mr. Bladder in the basement. What? Now food comes in through the chimney, mouth, and goes from room to room, greeting the different organs.
Hello.
Now, the good healthy food is very nice and polite to the organs, and so is invited to stay for a party. Yay! But the bad, not healthy foods are very rude and must leave through the cat flap.
Rude. That doesn't make sense.
Do be healthy.
Hello? What's that? A tasty snack. You don't want to go and eat a snack like that.
Greedy, to eat all that, you'll end up with your gums all grey.
But something's wrong. Exactly. How do we know which ones are the healthy?
That is most definitely a thing. So yeah, pink eye is super contagious if you get it like eye-word. Like you get it in your eye from like some kid who didn't wash his hands after he
Poke
pooped
your
himself.
eye out, kid.
Yep. But if you have a cold, you can cough so hard that you knock it into the back of your eye, and you'll basically just get pink eye from yourself. So normally, like when I get sick with like a flu or something, like that one ConnectiCon long ago, like we'll power through and like do a show or like do a thing, especially at a convention. But we ended up having illnesses that caused constant coughing. So even if our mind was sound, the body could not do Geek Nights, nor could I even do any Patreon stuff. So we're basically just dead in the water.
Also, I wasn't even here. Because I woke up in Connecticut Monday morning planning to take the train to the city directly to work. But I was sick, so I just stayed in Connecticut.
Yep.
Can't do a podcast from a state away.
I'm at work on Monday, and Scott messages me, and he's like, "You motherfucker, I got me sick." And I was like, "Wasn't me, bro.
It was you.
I got a different sick."
Whatever. We all got sick. Whatever.
So we're finally back. There's going to be a lot of coughing in this episode probably, and I'm not going to edit that out.
My cough is like 25% of what it was yesterday.
Yeah. No, so Emily saw, because, well, I thought I was feeling better. Like, I didn't think I was sick anymore on Wednesday. So I'm playing some Overwatch, right? And suddenly, like, the game's getting intense, and I start to say some stuff on the chat, and then I just had this ridiculous coughing fit so bad that one of our friends on the voice chat in the game was like, "Rim, you AFK, what's up?" Because I just wasn't moving. I was like flailing and coughing.
I'm coughing more now that I'm talking.
Yep. That's how that'll go. You want a cough drop?
No.
No. Gation has norovirus. And if you don't know what norovirus is,
There are Republicans in California?
there's at least 2 or 3, I assume. Someone also posted something funny because there was an uproar. Like there was some political nonsense going on. So a whole bunch of delegates walked out of a vote. Like all this like drama happened. And someone pointed out that the tweet from the news that said the Colorado delegation has abandoned the convention was at exactly 4:20 p.m.
Oh.
That is the extent of the politics we'll get tonight. We're back. We're bad. We're doing Geek Nights. Got any news?
I do have a news. The long-awaited video ball
In a grim, dark future when all humanity has
was
been
released
subsumed.
to the world like a week or 2 ago.
Have you played it yet?
I bought it immediately and have not even launched it or installed it because I have not been home and not sick and at a time when I'm going to play some video ball.
Even at a time like this, we've been
Why didn't
talking
you
about
release
this
your game in the winter? Why would you release your game in the warmest most beautiful time of the year.
I mean, we've been talking about this game for what, almost 3 years? Every PAX, we go up to these guys and we're like, just give me the game. Like, I don't just give me the game. I want the game. And
also, at a time that just so happens that even though I'm ready to play video ball, everyone that I would play video ball with is instead playing Overwatch and Pokemon Go. And even if I played video ball, no one else is video balling.
Now, luckily, it's not a fully transitive situation. You can play Pokemon Go and video ball at the same time. You can play Pokemon Go and Overwatch at the same time. You cannot play Overwatch and video ball at the same time, especially because the competitive season started and let's just say that the level of Overwatch play is rising rapidly. I'm holding on to my 51 rank with grim determination.
Sorry, I'll be started on video ball soonish.
I will install video ball and play it before the end of this week.
I think at the very least, right, even if video ball doesn't take off to be internet competitive, thing, that it will at least become the best, like, everyone's in the same room at the party game.
Oh, hell yeah. In fact, Scott, it's kind of good.
It's like, take that,
remember
other than
Rocket League.
it's like we'll have another option besides Bomberman. Well, Bomberman and video ball.
When Rocket League came out, like, half of our friends played enough to get pretty good, and the other half didn't.
But it sucks to play Rocket League in the same room.
Yep. Well,
it's also hard. It's hard for people to play.
We did it at the New Year's party, but that's because we had like 7 computers between
all of us. It also sucked
us.
to have like a split screen time.
I didn't have that. I was playing on my laptop.
It's not. It's not the best.
But the other problem was, people got good at different rates. And Overwatch, while it's fun to play with friends, competitive kind of split off on its own. But with video ball, if our friends don't play it that much, it means every time we're together, we bust it out. And much like Star Wall, nobody's good enough to where no one wants to play Street Fighter or Soul Calibur with Jess or Scott anymore.
Well, there are also times when, even if everyone plays the game the same amount, some people progress in skill more quickly than others.
Yep.
So, yeah, anyway.
I am excited, though. I mean, I've been waiting for video ball for a long time, and it's going to scratch an itch. I know it's going to scratch an itch.
The other game we've been waiting for, which we talked about last episode, the Valhalla, is out, too. We still haven't...
I think we have some. Emily's coughing out there, too. Yeah.
Coughing on the dinner.
Well, I don't think I can get what Emily has, because I'm pretty sure it's what I had. But at least the party we went to over the weekend was chill times in the summer outside, so I feel pretty good and rejuvenated. And
healing wave.
Unrelatedly, but kind of related, because it's kind of funny. I promise we're not talking about American politics or any nonsense, but the bad parties convention's going on right now in America. And something really funny happened. The attendees of the Republican convention, which is like literally the opposite of the nerd convention that we just ran, might have a norovirus outbreak.
Well, they're all old people, so their health is not the greatest.
Now, it's funny because on one hand, nerd conventions...
It's easy for disease to spread.
Yep, but nerd conventions are known for disease spreading because, like...
There's a lot more people there.
And there's the churn. Like, that's why convention center escalators always fail. Because nerds don't just walk into a room, sit there for 4 hours, and then go out drinking in, like, shitty hotel bars. Nerds are going up and down, walking around constantly touching each other.
Well, the political conventions, if you look at them on TV, they don't look like tech conferences where it's like a bunch of chairs and people sitting quietly. It's a bunch of people standing all crammed in next to each other tightly.
Yep.
Right? Pushing and shoving and yelling.
And I realized this.
And coughing on each other.
It's a political convention, which means it's not just that they're full of flecks of spittle all over their faces. What do politicians do? Kiss babies and shake hands. Mm-hmm. They're walking around this thing, touching each other's hands.
There's so much handshaking going on there.
There's a rumor that I can't confirm yet that maybe 100% of California's delegates... It's Tuesday, July 19th, 2016. I'm Rim.
I'm coughing.
And this is Geek Nights. Tonight, we're talking about Ekans.
We don't need it.
We're talking about Pokemon Go.
Let's do this.
So yeah, we're finally back. You guys know we ran ConnectiCon. We're the heads of the panels department, and that all went fine. And we all got sick. Well, at least me and Scott and Emily got sick. And, some kinds of sicknesses, like... when
I followed all the protocols of not shaking hands.
I fucking didn't touch anyone.
Constant hand washing.
I wash my hands every time I walk past that bathroom by panel ops, and I use the alcohol disinfectant.
I don't use the alcohol disinfectant, but I wash my hands like crazy.
Yep, but it didn't matter. Now, it appears that we actually got different things. As
I
far
don't
as
like
we
the way
can
that
tell.
shit makes your hands feel.
Yep, no, because it's all like gooey and jelly.
Yeah, no, I don't like that shit. And
Yeah,
it
but at
smells-
least
and
it was
smells bad.
At least it was the real shit. It was alcohol. It wasn't like triclosan, just like
It
nonsense.
came from Operation Hammond. It's the real
Yeah,
shit.
real guys, germ busters. But I guess Scott got strep throat, and I just got this like ridiculous fucking cold that migrated into my eye at one point.
Oh yeah, I didn't get the eye thing.
Yeah, I called my insurance because I have this like nurse you can call and ask questions, and I was like, so I'm an adult, and I think I just got pink eye from myself. And she was like, do you have a cold? And I'm like, yep. And then she's like, were you coughing violently? And I was like, yep. And she was like, you probably coughed it into your eye. And I was like, that's a thing. And she's like,